So I have the great honor of kicking off our Women's Coaching and Consulting Council today, May 4th already. I don't know how that happens. And really thrilled to be able to introduce Kathleen Caldwell, our chair and founder of the C-Suite Network Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. Of course, she's also the CEO of Caldwell Consulting Group, and she leads the Women's Success Accelerator and so much more. And I think that's one of the great honors and pleasures of being part of a community that's years and years of relationship and then extended relationship into new leaders, new friends, family, and the whole C-Suite network. So she's the person who really is here guiding and mentoring us as successful women who have coaching or accountability responsibilities with our clients, and really focused on how we improve ourselves or build the strengths of ourselves, and also evaluate the ways that we can be making the most impact that we want to be able to make. So the topic today couldn't be more fitting for that sort of approach and also framing of who we are in community together here. It's about increasing our coach commitment quotient. And I, as always, am ecstatic to be handing things over to the incredible Kathleen Caldwell, who inspires us and challenges us and holds a space for us to learn, grow, and ask the questions that, maybe we don't want to ask in other forums, and share transparently to learn and grow together. So Kathleen, thank you always. And I hand things over to you for another great session together today.
Trisha, Ben, thank you. Oh my goodness. And doesn't this point to how important it is to have our wing women, right? We love men, we love children, we love communities, but having a wing woman and having a community of wing women supporting us, so important. So thank you for that. Yeah, very good. So our topic today is all about commitment. And so my commitment to you is, by the end of our time together, and we move quickly in the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council here in C-Suite Network, we will, I promise you, you'll have a different perspective on your commitment, not only to your clients, but also to yourself, to the community. And, coaching, I think everyone's a coach. And, our council is dedicated to promoting, showcasing, and highlighting coaches, the coach within us. So let me just jump in. I've got some slides I'd love to share with you. And this, as you know, we always love an interactive program. So, I'll show a couple slides. Let's get the conversation going. And this idea really was sparked from a client conversation I was having. And my client was talking about this thing about not feeling motivated and inspired. And we started talking about commitment. And I realized that in this moment, I had more commitment for her and what she was aspiring to do than in that moment she had for herself. And so it occurred to me that commitment is contagious. How many of you would agree? Your commitment, you know this for your family, you know this for yourself. If we're around people that don't have commitment for things, or their commitment for perhaps, not to pick on Netflix, but, watching endless videos, kind of reading the news, kind of living with what are other people's priorities rather than our own, we can see the result of it. So today's topic is inspired by that. And so thank you, Trisha. I'm Kathleen Caldwell. I'm also an author, speaker. I love all things C-Suite Network. In fact, next month, I'm celebrating my 8-year anniversary with C-Suite Network. I'm so excited about that. And I am, through preparing for this topic, I am even more committed to the work that I'm doing and to my purpose to really highlight and showcase the light workers, because I think coaches, we are all light workers. We're bringing light to the world. We're bringing positivity, optimism, solutions. And I think you'll agree with me, now more than ever, we need it. We need to see more of the light. So I always love to start off with a definition. And again, we're going to move quickly through this, but I'm just curious who would like to read the definition, always giving credit to Merriam-Webster or whomever it is. Carol, you jumped in. Love it. We want to
Sure.
get your voice in here. Thank you.
Commitment. Number one, an agreement or pledge to do something in the future.
Mhm.
Number two, the state of being obligated or emotionally impelled.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And what I'm also reminded about, thanks, Carol, is the future is literally now and now and now. The future isn't next year. It isn't next week. I mean, yes, technically it is, but the future is like in this next moment. And so I'm curious for each of you, I want to get your point of view in here, as we always do, is what is it about this definition that inspires you, has you stop and think, what is it about this that's capturing your attention in the definition of commitment? Something about the agreement or a pledge or a state of being obligated or emotionally impelled. Interesting. Yeah, please, I'm going to stop sharing, get your viewpoint here. Yeah, thank you.
I think for me, I would say I resonate more with the first one here, where it's an agreement and commitment towards something which I'm really looking forward to in the near future. So I would resonate with that more. Instead of feeling obligated to do something, I want it to come from within.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Archana, am I pronouncing your first name correctly?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Beautiful. Where are you zooming in from, our sister?
I'm from India. Yeah, I'm from India.
Beautiful. Oh, we're
Yeah.
so grateful that you're here. That takes commitment, doesn't it?
It does. Yes.
Yes, yes, yeah. I'm just kind of curious, what's the time? You're on Friday, May the 5th, aren't you?
It's 4th Friday. It's 4th of May. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
still the
4th of May
4th.
for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
4th of May for me.
And what time is it there?
It's 10:45 p.m.
Okay. Is that commitment, sisters, or what?
That's commitment.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. That's really great. I'm inspired already. I don't know about each of you, but I'm inspired. Yes, thank you. Great, good. We're so glad you're here. Yes. Thanks for raising the bar about commitment. Carol, jump in. Commitment, definition.
Okay. The definition that says that you're committed to something in the future means that we have to be committed now, because every decision that we make along the way either brings us closer to the goal or farther away. I know that this past season, I've been very committed to personal health and wellness. And, every meal is an opportunity to decide. And every day is an opportunity to decide, how am I going to move my body today? If we just say that in June, I'm going to weigh such and such, and we don't take steps to make that happen, we're not really committed, even though we say we are. That future thing is really future and now today.
Love everything you said, Carol. That is so true. And, it causes me also to stop and think at every moment, what is it that I'm committed to? Am I committed to, and we're transparent in our calls here. Yes, we're recording, of course. And I'm so delighted our YouTube channel, we're now up to close to 60,000 views of our videos. We have now close to 80 videos. So exciting. And it started with one video, a couple of years ago. So that's commitment. And oftentimes I'm sometimes more committed to, working with my team to get the video loaded up and that, but it's like keeping the commitment of what is it that we're really committed to? What am I committed to? Helping and guiding the light workers, our coaches. Yes. That's the reason I'm doing all this stuff. The same for each of you. Yes.
Yeah.
Susan, you had a point of view, and Amy as well. And of course, Tricia. Yes. Commitment.
And I would add to what Carol said. It definitely requires where you're at now, recognizing, are you on track for what you're committed to creating? have you, because as you mentioned, sometimes it's what we are committed to see our clients achieve. And at some points, we have to recognize what is the implication for us in this moment. Are we giving so much to their commitment that we are failing to take care of other commitments to ourselves? And that is something we frequently see with, especially people who are doing coaching and consulting. They are so focused on helping someone else achieve something, they forget to look at what's this costing me. And when they look back, they have that, what was the implied success for others that did not create success for myself. And I think sometimes because we can see the success for them, we tend to own that as our own success. And we don't shine the light on our contribution to that in a way that allows us to recognize those various steps in committing to things along the way. And we will then look at where we didn't get ourselves to and go, wait a minute, what happened? Instead of going, oh my gosh, look at all I did with, this client, that client, and whatever. Own those successes.
And are you noticing our esteemed faculty members, Tricia Ben, Carol Kammermer, Susan Younger, are the just sharp women, so sharp, among a sister of other sharp, committed women, standing out. So thank you. Thank you. Yes, exactly. It's kind of interesting. We're going to talk about this in a moment, but oftentimes, and I know I have fallen into this camp, is commitment has also meant I'm more committed, like you're saying, Susan, for them and their outcome. And I, as the coach, have in my history been needless and wantless. It's just so kind of not self-serving, because that was not the route, is more all about them. And our coach training teaches us that, it's all about the client. I mean, we've heard that thousands of times, but we've got to fit into the equation ourselves, right? Where are we in this whole thing? Yeah. Susan, beautiful comments. Yes. Carol too. Amy,
Yeah.
I think you were leaning in as well.
Yes. I really resonate with the second definition, not so much with the word obligation. Don't love that. But
yes.
I love the word impelled. I use the word compelled because it describes me and it describes my clients, the people I work with. We all feel compelled to tell our stories, to share our transformational stories with others to help them, right? With the goal as a coach to help them. So I really love that word compelled, because it's like that fire that is burning inside that keeps us going no matter what. So even on those days when you're not really feeling it or you just want to stay in bed, it's that feeling of being compelled to do what is meeting your mission of, and I always say my mission is to help raise the positive vibration of the planet. So that's, showing our light and helping other people do the same. So that's what I really connect to in terms of commitment.
Excellent. And Amy, what you're also pointing out is, what I'm hearing is how important it is for us to tell our stories. What is it that we're committed to in a sea of coaches and consultants out in the world?
Right.
What is making us different and stand out? It's our story. And I realize I am committed, starting today, to start to tell my story and to share my big why and to talk about my commitment. Yes. Tricia, would you like to jump in, share? I mean, leading a global organization that's growing and scaling, you have a big commitment for yourself and for C-Suite Network.
That's yes, Kathleen. And it's something I try to, I live in every moment inspired with that commitment. And so living with that with grace is another whole thing that I'm very mindful to. Right now, as soon as you put up those definitions, I admit the immediate thought I had is the negotiation piece. I'm here, but I'll tell you, yesterday I had 18 scheduled meetings and I hosted at least one event during that time. I can't remember. Anyway, I mean, it is a blur. But you'll see me, I'm eating food. And so my unstated negotiation is, I am so committed to being here. I have not had a scheduled time to eat. So my unstated negotiation is, I need to eat. And I'm relying on the grace of women I love and trust
Yes.
to know that's not a sign of disrespect. It's a sign of my commitment to being here with you. And, Archana, when you said, it's 11 o'clock at night, that commitment of you could be sleeping, that's a very real negotiation and commitment. So that's what I thought of immediately. And it's funny, there's some environments where people have a lot of grace for that. And there are some environments where people don't. And I find myself thinking, okay, well, I've got to trade this off. And I appreciate that much more, those spaces where I feel that I can do that. But I thought of a number of other things. The idea that there are values, that came to me in the definitions. And that matters so much, because if you're committed to values, which we are here in C-Suite Network, right? Relevancy, reach, reciprocity, respect, that commitment has a way to live out in reality. And so that came to me. What are those frameworks we use? And the other one is conditions of satisfaction. And I've spoken on that numerous times. We use that here. What are your conditions of satisfaction to feel that you've delivered to yourself a great day? And so that's another framework that came to mind immediately, because regardless of which definition you select, you have to somehow create frameworks to make it live in your life. And so anyway, those were two frameworks that really came strongly to me after the oh my goodness, here I am eating. And I really hope that people understand that. It's because of my commitment, not because of a lack of commitment, anyway, there we go. Those are the three immediate thoughts that came to my mind.
Beautiful. And, as we move along, what I'm also hearing is communication, hello, and clarity about our commitment and what we're doing and how it relates to it. I mean, and to show up on a Zoom call on video, means that we're committed, and we're not committed to multitasking. And I so acknowledge and appreciate each of you for showing up on video. There are times when, we can't, but here we are in this moment. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, great. So let's continue on, and as we think about, this definition, and I apologize, a lot of words on this, but, thinking about your own personal definition of commitment and having those conversations with not only yourself, but also, also your family members, your colleagues, your clients, of course, coworkers, and of course, I love this quote, and it's attributed to Goethe. He attributed to a lot of different people. Sadly, all men, but we'll just take that. Okay. But I love the idea that until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffective. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would have never otherwise have occurred. So once commitment occurs, this happens for yourself. Magic happens. It's like we're able to move mountains and do things. Resources become available. And so if you've experienced that, give me some little sparkle fingers. That to be true. Yeah. Yeah. And in a world where I'm noticing few people are truly stating their commitments. It's just, I'm sensing that the world is calling us now for greater commitment. And so I'm just curious for each of you. And again, the Coach Commitment Quotient that I come up, I love to put IP around all kinds of fun stuff. It's a tongue twister, of course, is thinking about for yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. I love using, kind of for myself, how can I rate myself? And thinking about what does commitment mean to you? Right now in this moment, what does it mean to you? And I think, we use the definition to kind of move into this, but I'd invite you to think about an area of your life, your business, your relationships, maybe a particular client that you have in particular. And, maybe even as I'm leaning in here, maybe someone that you want to be more committed to in the relationship. Imagine that you're going to kind of go to work on this relationship or this situation, whether it's personal, professional, whatever it is, and just think about, what does being committed mean to you? How would it look like? Carol alluded to this as well and talked about this, is what would the future look like if you were a 10 or even an 11 in your commitment? Yeah. And any sharing that's coming up for you around your idea about what does being committed mean to you? I mean, yeah, thank you, Carol. Love it.
It evokes joy for me to
Mm,
be committed.
nice, nice.
I don't know. Of course, it evokes joy when you see movement in a
Mhm.
direction that you are aiming at. But when you are committed, there is a sense of everything you think about has to do with whatever you're committed to. And I don't know, there is freedom in that, really. You don't have to think about other things because your mind is centered. Your mind is focused. And, I suppose there's a problem of being committed to too many things, then you can't really be committed in that same way. But I don't know, I'm really enjoying that sense of commitment and joy together. It works for me.
Yeah, beautiful, really beautiful. Yes. And I love to work with and encourage my clients to think about a life of threes. What are the three main things in your life right now, in your business and in your personal life, whatever it is, the power of just three things. And so I have what's called an intention agenda that I work with and have my clients work with. It's the power of threes. What will you do today to love your business or your career, love your body, love your life? Just three things. And I think that for me, I can handle three things. 10 things I cannot handle. I tried so many times, but just the power of three. And it also then kind of, for me, it calms my mind to
It does.
put these other things out of it. Like you're saying, Carol, a sense of freedom. How about for each of you? What would you say you're committed to, and really also what is important to you right now? Susan, yeah, thanks.
What's been coming up for me this spring is partly because in Texas, we have such a short season of nice weather. And so part of it for me is giving me that opportunity to be out in the garden, to take care of some things that maybe haven't been taken care of in the past for whatever reason. Was the weather crappy? Was my time schedule not flexible enough? All of those different things. And not making it a commitment that is that, oh crap, if I don't get this done, it is awful. It is oh, joy, like Carol said, in that I may only be giving myself 20 minutes to half an hour out there in the morning before meetings or in between meetings or whatever. But it is taking advantage of the opportunity now to create the beauty that I will get to enjoy the rest of the summer, and still having the focus and commitment to my business, setting up the meetings I need to. However, looking at the time frame for them around the time that is easier for me to have that moment in the sun or shade, depending on depending on what I need, and looking at it as both feeding my soul and my mind, because when you're out there digging in the dirt and that, it's a great time to be thinking about some of those things from a business perspective that come up for you when you step away from the computer, when you get a moment that is quiet and you hear the birds singing, and you use those distractions as an inspiration for you to grow something else. So
Gorgeous, gorgeous. And I'm just curious for each of you, thinking about your commitments, is that what, and we're going to jump into just a couple symptoms of what kind of gets us off track, but how can your life be set up? How can you set up your life so that everything is in fact supporting the commitments that are important to you? So the gardening, while it's only quote unquote 30 minutes or whatever, it's like, that could be the most gorgeous 30 minutes that really, it sounds like it's really fueling you and inspiring you and bringing you beauty and peace of mind, Susan. Yeah, great. Anyone else thinking about a commitment that's important to you now? Because that's part of today, is to have us think about, all right, what really am I committed to and what am I doing about it? Yeah, Amy, thank you.
I just wanted to tag on what Susan said, because you really sparked something in my mind, Susan, that sometimes I have so much to do that I'll be looking outside going, oh, I need to go take a walk. I need to go take a walk. And finally, when I get myself out there to take a walk and enjoy the bird singing and the smell of the trees and just whatever's going on, I just get downloads of wonderful ideas, of ways I can approach a problem or an issue, or come up with just some brand new idea I hadn't thought of, because you need to create that space in your body, mind, spirit to allow those things to come in. So, it seems like non-productive sometimes to keep that commitment to yourself, to take a break, to take a bath or walk or garden or whatever it is that feeds your soul. But it's so incredibly nourishing, and does help support everything else in your life, your relationships with yourself and with everyone else, and just the creativity that is waiting to come out at every moment, and we just need to give it a chance.
Gorgeous, really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. So my invitation for each of us, it is, we kind of move into this next section, is to think about, again, like, what's a commitment or commitments that you really have, and to really question I'm going to present a couple tools and ideas that you can use to let go of the things that perhaps are in the way of your commitment. And my intention by the end of our time together here, and we'll complete well before the top of the hour, of course, is maybe we can just let go of the things that we say we're committed to, but we're not really committed to them, and giving ourselves a little bit more freedom and grace, more time, more expansiveness, and then, of course, modeling that for our clients. So yeah, thank you. And for ourselves. Okay, great. So, thinking about what does really, when we're completed with our time here, what does committed really mean to you? And of course, what does it look like? Of course, because we know, I think, sisters, we know when we're half committed or partially committed, or the people in our life say they're committed, but they're really not. It's like, we know that energy and feeling, it just really lays flat, and thinking about, why is the thing that we're committed to, why are we committed to it? And what's the whole why behind it? That. And of course, for me, it was also very healthy to stop and think about, what is it that takes me out of my commitment? So what is it that takes you out of your commitment? And specifically, when we think about clients or coworkers, Susan alluded to this a moment ago, is, when it comes to client work as a coach, consultant, trusted advisor, thought leader, expert, is we've also been trained to say we're only as committed as the client. We cannot be more committed than the client is for their goals and this type of thing. Well, okay, that's technically true, but oftentimes people really need us to take a stand for them, and to know this beautiful, intimate, deep relationship that you have with your coaching client or your colleague is, what do they need and how can we support them? Do we, with lack of commitment, are there expectations that we have that things should have gone a certain way, or they should have done something and they didn't? Does that take us out of our commitment? Is there some sort of incomplete communication? We're waiting for people to say something, I know with relationships, we wish he or she or they would have said something, but they didn't. Are we holding back our commitment to wait for that that communication, when in fact maybe we should lean in and have a courageous conversation with them? Or are we confusing the facts with the meaning? I know this happens frequently is, as a coach, if a client is late on a call, oftentimes we could misinterpret it that, hey, they're late for a call. That means that they're not committed, or they have a lack of commitment, or they're holding back, or, just something like that. The fact is they were only a few minutes late to the call. It doesn't mean all this other stuff. So are any of these symptoms things that you're experiencing as a coach consultant? And of course, just moving through these very quickly, the Coach Commitment Quotient really starts even with a client before you even sign them up as a client, before you enroll them and do the very first intake session with them, is what's the agreement? Are you committing as a coach to be your best on every call and nourishing yourself in between calls? I know I've started a practice many years ago. Before every coaching call, I take a few minutes, stop, pause, breathe, meditate, and set an intention for myself to rise to the occasion, to be so present with my client so that I'm all in for them. They can sense it. So the agreement, and is the agreement that you're asking from them the same? Or are they distracted? Are they multitasking or whatever? Are they, it's no judgment here, but what's the agreement you have with your clients? Are you treating your client relationships as transactional relationships? Oftentimes when we're so busy as a coach, we've got a lot of clients, a lot of groups, a lot of things we're leading. You feel like the relationship is transactional. That can reduce the commitment for you and for them. And then, of course, two more things. Are we standing for our clients, but are we more so standing for their goals? I think you have to philosophically decide how you stand in that type of thing. Coach training tells us that we stand for the client, not the thing that they want to achieve. Well, I think there's a balance there. So, and then finally, are we feeling like we're too busy and distracted to give our full self to our clients? So these are some of the symptoms that can take us out of having a 10 or 11 on our Coach Commitment Quotient. Okay. Any comments, any jumping in, things that are resonating for you? What takes us out of the relationship? Yeah.
I think when you talk about standing for the client, not for their goals, if you're working with a client whose goals and mission and vision are too far distant from yourself, sometimes that really creates that distraction. You're feeling like you're working for something that you don't believe in. And so you have to truly, if you're going to stand for that client, you have to have a discussion about why is this goal of theirs that you have no interest in or no feeling of emotion in supporting, something that you are willing to help them achieve. Because you cannot be of service to them if you don't truly connect with the values they put behind that. That can really stop you from being committed to them in a way you thought you were. And I think that, kind of feeds to all of these. Is it a transactional relationship? What was the real agreement you made with them? And how is this distracting you from being of service to them or taking care of yourself in a way that allows you to be of service to clients you are more aligned with?
Susan, beautiful, excellent point of view on this. And, thinking about too is how are we as coaches, trusted advisors, consultants, how are we resourcing ourselves? Because if we're coming to our relationship with our clients with a cup that's half empty, as opposed to half full, or maybe even overflowing with obligations and time commitments, if we don't have the capacity as coaches, I know our clients can sense it. Do you agree with me in this point of view? Yeah, yeah. So how are we resourcing ourselves? Are we, of course, getting enough sleep, taking good care of our health? The thing that I've been a coach since 1998, a very long time. And what I love about coaching, I love so many things about coaching, but one thing I don't love about coaching is it's so sedentary, you know? And so Trisha is modeling something beautiful for us about stretching. Yes, I've tried to walk around and have coaching conversations outdoors and all this type of thing, but so are we resourced, for ourselves in a variety of ways? Yeah.
That's why I'm
Yeah,
standing instead of sitting.
exactly, Carol. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes, moving around. And doesn't that really impact our commitment if we're not resourced enough, if we're coming with expectations, we're coming with also like sometimes, the residue, the last client we had a conversation with, or we bring their stuff into the next relationship, we've got to have a clearing space. Yeah. Trisha, please.
Kathleen, I've been mindful to this lately, and it's just an open question mark, really, but publicly taking on the role of CEO of C-Suite Network is one thing. I've had all but 2 responsibilities for the last 2 years of the CEO of C-Suite Network, and I'm in rooms with only men again for the first time in my career since I was in my 20s, and I've been mindful to how men invest in themselves through different things that as women we feel selfish to do. And even to the point of networking, I'm very mindful to, when I'm doing C-suite success interviews, how many men and women do I have, and who is stepping up in terms of how I do that outreach. It's so fascinating because, right, anyway, it's not a very cohesive thought, but how we invest in ourselves, how we support each other, how we show up with the responsibility of creating a community of women's leadership that starts with that investment, I think is so powerful. And obviously I'm preaching to the converted. We're all here, right?
Yeah.
It's
We're
not
all into commitment. Look at the commitment we're demonstrating. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's not us, it's the women that aren't in this room. And I'm thinking a lot about that these days. Kathleen, you and I came together in the first women's committee of C-Suite Network because women weren't stepping up to make the time to come to C-Suite Network events in that first, couple of years. And we all know that pull, right? It's like the selfishness. I'm going to go and aggrandize myself. And meanwhile, my team needs me, my family needs me, my friends need me, my house needs me, my pet needs me, like whatever, all the things we have in our life. And so anyway, I'm reflecting on that because decades have gone by and it's definitely changed. And we have this extraordinary environment for women in C-Suite Network. And I mentioned before we got started today, a woman I met last night who's a professor by trade, but has moved with her husband. And she's trying to get into a woman positive, environment to reinvent herself. And so all these things are kind of coalescing in my head in terms of our commitment overall in how we're moving forward. I don't know, I'll just throw that out there because I know all of you are thinking about these things and have had the journey of being women, leaders in all of your environments through your development. And obviously, Archana, you're in India, and that creates a whole other context. I grew up in Canada. I mean, we all have our histories. So anyway, I throw it out there because I'm curious in terms of that commitment that we make together and what that means for, other women that are not being supported or leading in this kind of community or opportunity.
So many great points, Trisha, so many. And I think that we have a tremendous opportunity here for us to change the narrative and lead the way, of course, in C-Suite Network, that we must make a commitment to ourselves. We are the most important person in our world. We must be. And, the givers that we all are. And we're so focused on others that I often wonder, where are we in the equation? That's in the whole mix of our lives. Where are we and our priorities and our commitment in the equation? And how can we level that up and support each other in the process, right?
I think that's the question, because we were taught lots of things that were very, very bad behaviors when we were younger, right? How dare she do that? How dare she, and who's there with her child? And, like, I mean, we can all run through all of those scenarios. But so what does that mean? And how do we move forward? And how do we help other women to understand we've been given false dichotomies, and we are not accepting those premises. We're doing something different,
And supporting each other along the way, right? Yeah. Yeah. If when one woman rises, it doesn't mean that I don't rise. It's like, hey, the analogy, rising tide lifts all boats. Okay, great. But, on a more personal level, yes. Amy, you were jumping in. Thank you, Tricia. Really great.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize something that Tricia said about as kids, I think particularly girls are taught to not talk about themselves, to not brag on themselves and stuff. So then when we become entrepreneurs, and we're supposed to have this really clear, compelling message about who we are and what we do and how we serve. I've seen many, many times that can be very, very difficult. I mean, it's sometimes hard for me, and I see it in my clients too. I'd love to know your thoughts, ladies, too.
So Amy, I would like to,
Oh, sorry, Archana.
Amy, I would like to add to what you just said. It's again, I mean, coming from India, we've been raised in a particular manner, right? And more than in a particular manner, I'd say it's more like a people pleaser. Right? You have to be a good child. I mean, there's only one best child in the world, and that is my child. So that is the thought process. I mean, not just for India, I'm sure it's across the world as well. But since I help people in communicating with assertiveness, and I've learned it hard way, I leave no stone unturned. I don't miss out on any single opportunity where I can talk about assertiveness or the importance of speaking up for yourself. And that reminds me of one of the incident that I had with my 5-year-old. She's a daughter, she's a girl child. And so she had entered a drawing competition there, and she colored a cat, and the cat happened to be a multicolored one. It had all the hues of pink and purple and whatnot. She didn't win the prize because the organizer found that this is not how a cat looks. And there my 5-year-old took the mic and said, just because you haven't seen this color of cat doesn't mean it doesn't exist. For me, this is the cat that I have seen. And I was like, wow. So it's like rewriting the narrative for ourselves also. And that's what we need the most. Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. And I'll put a little plug in that our program in 2 weeks is how to promote yourself as a coach consultant, how to promote yourself. And of course, get other people to promote us too, but how to boldly step forward. So Amy, you're channeling our commitment for our future, our next program. So thank you. Yeah, yes, thank you. Really great. So let's jump in, and we're going to complete our program. By the way, I hope that you've gotten some nuggets here, some new thoughts, new ideas of commitment, and perhaps even strengthened your commitment to the important things that you have going in your life, the important things, and perhaps even thinking about what's your commitment to your clients, what's your client's commitment to you, and what's your client's commitment to themselves. It's a juicy, delightful conversation. Feel free, my hope is that you'll have that. So, okay. So think about also, I just encourage us to think about what takes us out of the game for our commitment. And, finally, what I think are some solutions to increase your coach commitment quotient. Again, 0 to 10, how strong are you? 0, not at all. 10 is like, how committed am I? And I think that what for me, and what I'd highly recommend is, changing our listening. Listen deeply and very generously. Really lean into the listening. And, I also curiously ask for the important people in our life, are we listening with kind of a half ear? Are we listening kind of because we know they've said the same thing 5 different times, our children are, whomever. So maybe today is a line in the sand to say, I'm going to listen deeply. I'm going to give you my undivided attention. Like you, my beloved, my children, my whomever, you're the most important client in my world today. So yes. And of course, asking probing questions, as coaches, it's always the question behind the question, really. It's the deeper question that people really want to be asked, and having that intimate, trusting relationship that you can go there. You can ask them the thing they desperately want you to ask, but maybe, they're afraid to tell you, they need you to ask it. And of course, how can we, after our time together today, get even more invested in our clients, invested in a new way, be inspired to be recommitted to them? And of course, I always recommend get in a community of highly committed coaches, like the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council here in C-Suite Network. Keep growing, keep learning, keep moving forward. And as we complete, we're all about holding ourselves to a higher standard. You know that feeling when you're all in, you're invested, you're leaning in, and you don't lose yourself. You keep yourself in the equation. This is not a needless, wantless kind of thing. You're in the mix, but you're all in. That feeling. It's a beautiful, gorgeous feeling. You'll complete calls with your clients and you'll just, that magic has occurred. Yeah. So, and then finally, when it comes to commitment, I'm just going to ask you a curious question to think about as we complete is, what do you know about yourself and your commitment to yourself or to others? But perhaps thus far you've been pretending that it's not true. What do you really know about yourself that you've been pretending that it's about commitment, like that you are so passionately committed? And I've been pretending, I'll just say I've been pretending that I haven't been fully all in to the coaching profession, to guiding and mentoring the light workers, the coaches in our world, the healers, the helpers, the consultants, the people that are doing good work. I've been pretending that, yes, I am committed, but what I've been not telling the truth about is how passionately I believe about it, how I believe about that. So for each of you, there's something in you that you have not fully brought out to the world. You've not sparked in the world. You've not declared to the world. And my challenge today to each of you is, let's go for it. Okay. I'm going to do a post on LinkedIn. I'll do a little video. Let's come clean with our commitment to our clients, our commitment to something around our work. Let's amp up the commitment. Okay. And, the whole goal here is to have us think of ourselves and to know ourselves truly as an unstoppable, committed person. That's who we are. And can we be more committed to the fire inside of us than the fire that's happening around us? Okay. I think that's you, sisters. And so with that, it's time to complete our program. And I'm just kind of curious, what's your biggest takeaway from our time together as we complete? What a juicy conversation we've had. Woo, about commitment. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
It was worth staying up, I would say.
Beautiful.
Thank you
Big
very
kisses
much
to
for
you.
being-
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I would say the biggest takeaway for me is the symptom that I lack commitment. That was a big eye opener because I would confuse it with anything else but lack of commitment. And seeing it here, yeah, I think I got what exactly I needed at this point in time. Thank you very much for that.
Blessings to you. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you. Yes. Who else? Your biggest takeaway from our time together? Put a little bow on our time.
I think it has to do with being committed to ourselves so that we can be more committed to our clients. The analogy of when the air bag drops down in the airplane, you're supposed to put yours on first before you help someone else. I think that is just a wonderful analogy, because if we are not well in ourselves, if we are not healthy and giving to ourselves, how can we give to others?
Beautiful. Carol, this is to you. Yes, exactly. Yes. Amy.
Yeah, Kathleen, I think my takeaway is just a greater awareness of commitment. I don't think about it that much. I'm in those terms. So this was really a great conversation to bring that higher in my awareness and be aware of my commitment, and that, yes, I am all in, and let's do this. Because I think we can get distracted by a lot of other things. And commitment helps us keep that line of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and the power of three. I think also, is just that kind of keeps us in our lane.
Beautiful. Thank you, Amy. Very, very wonderful. Yes. Great. Yeah. Final takeaways. Yeah.
For me, it was your final question. What do you know about yourself and commitment, but pretend is untrue? And I really have to think about that, because I'm like, what haven't I been recognizing in my commitment or my lack of? How have I not assessed it correctly? Sometimes we're so in the doing of the moment,
Yes.
we do not reframe it to go, oh, should have thought about that slightly differently to be successful. So powerful question. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Beautiful. Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. Tricia.
That is really powerful, Susan. Thank you for sharing that, because I love those kinds of questions. My podcast and TV show that's going to be coming out, C-Suite Success, I ask a question at the end of every episode, just for us to think. And so I think that is that question is so powerful, Kathleen, and I think the same way. What that took me to is courage. And again, how that relates to who we are together and our success together, and the tide raising all boats. Because at the end of the day, what you're really calling on for me with that question is, do we have the courage to own what we really desire and will deliver on? And anyway, so courage, when the invitation seems to be scared to fail, which I just can't fathom. I really have trouble with that. I was on a call with someone earlier today who's at the brink of bankruptcy, and trying not to kick themselves for mistakes. And he said, well, look at any success case, you'll see a bankruptcy in there somewhere, trust me. Like that. It's inevitable. If you look at the most successful people financially with business, you will see bankruptcies in there. There is no question. So you can let that go. That's not your issue. It's getting through where you are right now to deliver on the mission you're set out to achieve. So anyway, courage, that's what you left me thinking about, and how I can support that with everybody and see those successes through. Anyway, it's exciting. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you. Thank you, sisters. Wow. You rock my world today. I so appreciate each of you. Thank you. Very nice. All right. Let's go out and go forth with commitment and courage. How's that? Lots of love. Bye for now. See you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.